Tonight on Need to Know, politicians, entrepreneurs, activists, and reformers throughout New York are coming together in Rochester next week. What do they have in common? The pursuit for women's equality. That story coming up next. Also on the show, 5 women, 5 stories, and 5 murals with one purpose. How a local artist intends to connect a community through the commonalities of our human experience and the power of a woman's voice. Don't go anywhere. Need to Know starts right now. A record-breaking number of women are running for political office this year. According to some women in the political trenches, the reasons run deep. And according to some researchers and lawmakers, the impact could be long-term. It all seems quite fitting as the centennial celebration is underway in New York for women's suffrage. Next week, leaders from around the state will gather in Rochester for Seneca Falls Revisited, a women's equality weekend. Joining me to explain the meaning behind this event and its intended impact is Deborah Hughes, Women's Equality Conference co-chair and president and CEO of the National Susan B. Anthony Museum and House, and Rachel de Guzman, president and CEO of 21st Century Arts. Welcome to both of you. Thank you for being here. So this is the first ever Women's Equality Conference in New York, happening in Rochester. Why is it happening, Deborah? Explain the purpose.
Well, the purpose is to bring women together across the board who have talent and influence in politics, in business, in arts, in their communities, because it's about time that we got organized and talked about the agenda that could really move our country forward in terms of social justice.
And the timing is interesting. So talk to me a little bit about, Rachel. Why now? Some may say, why hasn't this happened years ago? Why is it so important that this is taking place right now?
I believe that it's because we're moving towards 2020 and 100 years of women's suffrage in the nation. And so I think that that's certainly a pivotal moment in time. But I also think that everything that's happening today and, you know, where all the progress we've made is certainly worth celebrating, but also looking forward to how to gain more equality in the future.
Absolutely. According to the Pew Research Center, about 74% of women who are Democrats or Democratic-leaning independents say the country has not gone far enough in terms of gender equality. And what's interesting is that's compared to 33% of women who are Republican or Republican leaners. And I want to know, how critical is it, regardless of party affiliation, for women to join forces, really to create, in so many words, a new legacy when it comes to gender equality in this country?
Well, I think one of the key pieces is around, we use the phrase bipartisan. This conference is not bipartisan, this is transpartisan. Because there are a lot of women who are engaged on issues, whether they're local issues or state issues or federal issues, who don't see themselves affiliated with any party and need to have a voice. And we need to come together and have those kinds of conversations. So this is intentionally not A, B, or A or B, it's everybody. And we want to hear what are the issues that are critically important to people, how can we organize, how can we address those issues, because we really think that's a vision for our state and for our country that goes beyond those separate parties.
And there's really an opportunity at this point to build on certainly the legacy of the initial Seneca Falls Convention and the subsequent one that happened in Rochester, and really have it be more intersectional this time, have it have more people represented and really look like a 21st century convention. And I think that that's an opportunity to really, and I see it really reflected in the programming, and that's one of the things that excited me when Sharon Nelson contacted me about being a part of this.
Let's talk about the conversations that will take place at this conference and kind of how they align with issues when it comes to women's equality, gender equality in our country. You know, research studies show there's this gap in people even recognizing the fact that there are gender inequality. Some people think that it's actually a myth. So talk a little bit about some of these conversations and why they're imperative to have right now. What's going to be happening?
Well, from my participation, one of the things that excited me was that certainly we're in this year of celebration of Frederick Douglass. And Frederick Douglass, being a feminist, was the first conversation that I had with Sharon Nelson. But then she started talking about, I mean, she recentered the conversation to him being a suffragette. And I guess that's the proper term. I learned something through that. But a couple years ago, I worked with Mara Ahmed and Amanda Chestnut, and we celebrated Frederick Douglass's 199th birthday. And Amanda Chestnut created this giveaway that had the motto there. And it's so significant that it said that, you know, the motto starts with right of no sex. And so when you consider what in the at the original conference, where he was the only black person, and you know, he really did have a pivotal role in helping some things be adopted in the conference, the declarations of sentiments here. But the fact that he had such a progressive attitude at that particular time, when even black men were aspiring to be to adopt a white man's relationship with women, more of a ownership and a paternalistic relationship, was so progressive, and it was just so inspiring to me, and really a mark of his progressiveness beyond abolition. And so I really liked that aspect of it, but also the fact that she wanted to celebrate radical Rochester women in the broadest sense, starting with Louise Slaughter. I thought that was something that was very poignant, but I really wanted to have the opportunity to lift up Anna Murray Douglass as one of the radical Rochester women that's probably been forgotten. So from my perspective in the programming I'm doing, it really is centered on that, and it's so exciting to have that opportunity.
Yeah, I'm very excited about the panels that have been put together for the conference, because there's some excellent diversity represented, and we're going to be challenging people to really have deep and uncomfortable conversations around issues that are important to us, from the panel around race, from panel around women and violence. All of the different components of the program are really, one, I expect to learn things. I expect to hear from some perspectives that will be aha moments for me, where I'll say, oh, I need to shift what I thought was important here because of what I'm hearing from someone else. And I also think what we really need to be about is organizing and to really think about it. And I think that's the piece that's been missing politically and for the women's movement in some ways, is to really say, what are the things around social issues? And in some cases, it's not that we already have an answer. It's that we really need to be raising the right question. And we need to hear, you know, today I was in a meeting where we were talking about the excitement for Rochester, about the senior PGA coming. But we also know that statistically, there's a human trafficking spike whenever that happens in our community. So the question is, okay, how could we as a community be on top of preventing situations that expose women and children dangerously because of that event happening in town? Well, those are the kinds of things we really want to be raising through this conference. And there's also lots of time to do yoga and relax and enjoy one another's company. So it's got to be.
There sure is. I've seen the roster. It looks like
food for the body, food for the soul.
Exactly.
And this whole idea of self-care for women, allowing themselves to be organizers, activists, and professionals, but also understanding that self-care is critical to their ability to do all those things, and it's not an indulgence. It's something that's critical to their ability to do something. I think that women have been so focused on how do we prove ourselves to be worthy of spaces that we want to occupy, that we really haven't considered that maybe we should be considering disrupting notions of how you occupy those spaces. And so I think women have a lot to bring to the table in redefining what it means to be professional activists and organizers.
And for women who are watching this program right now, and they would say, you know, I see a storm in this country, and I want to have a leadership role to do something to help to organize and to be a part of this movement. But they may feel paralyzed because of some of their life circumstances, right? So they could be high school dropouts, college dropouts. They could be working 2 to 3 jobs as a head of the household, and they don't know how to get involved, but they want to. What types of options would you say are available so that they are part of this movement and really active in this conversation?
Well, that's why the workshops are so important on top of speakers speaking to people. The workshops are a way for people to engage. And I think back to Deborah's point about organizing and it being so critical. Organizing as opposed to producing means that these many voices actually are part of the, you can't really organize alone.
Right.
So it's about creating a collective voice that is inclusive, that has power beyond the individuals. And so I think those voices are stronger when you have multi-voices and multi-perspectives, because I think we've come to the point that at least most people recognize that to be a woman, to be a professional woman is not one thing. You're not coming from one perspective. You're not marrying just men, all of that. And so I think that we have an opportunity to convene and help just by being together and participating, redefine what it means to be an organized body of women moving towards equality.
When it's all said and done, how will you, when you step back and look at the conference and what took place, what will have made it a success? Are there certain outcomes that you are anticipating that you want to make sure you see?
Well, speakers are coming from across New York State and across the country. So one significant outcome would be that if every woman leaves feeling like she's got a couple new relationships for somebody who knows something that she wants to know about or makes a connection with somebody who's doing the work that she's interested in, that will be a huge outcome, because we're really building a national network of women who are committed to doing something and combining our talents. And to me, that would be the most important thing. If everyone walked away saying, I have a new relationship, that woman inspired me, that woman's energy was amazing, that woman called me out on something I needed to hear, then I think everyone should come away from the conference saying, I got changed this weekend.
We have to close, but first, a thank you to my guests for joining me and sharing more about this event focused on celebrating the centennial of women's suffrage through civic engagement. Now, the first ever Women's Equality Weekend is happening here in Rochester. It's starting on Thursday, August 23rd, and it runs through Sunday, August 26th. It's taking place at the Hyatt Regency. You can learn more. Go to CREWOMEN.org. Mural artist Sarah Rutherford is combining the power of story and voice in a unique project she recently completed here in Rochester. It's called Her Voice Carries, and it features 5 murals highlighting the empowering stories of 5 Rochester women from different walks of life. Though their journeys may be different, they share an interesting common thread. Joining me at the desk to share more about the project is mural artist and creator of Her Voice Carries, Sarah Rutherford, and 2 women featured in the mural project, Trelawney McCoy, project counselor at the University of Rochester, and Kaylin Rich, a local author and activist. Welcome to all of you. Thank you for being here.
Thanks.
So Sarah, 5 murals, 5 stories, 5 women, 1 mammoth project. I want to know, I know you began developing Her Voice Carries a few years ago. Of the many projects that you've created, what makes this one differ from the others? And what made you say, I have to do this?
Sure. I think I got to a place within my work that I realized I wanted to tell a story and have it be greater than just these, one individual murals that I was doing in different communities. I really wanted to think about this idea of connection and, building a network of murals that people could go and travel the city, think about our city as a whole, think about this kind of universal message between all of the murals.
Well, you said the intention is to create a network of murals that weave a collective story laced with individual truths. And Trelawney and Kaylin are 2 of the 5 women featured in this project. I want to know, what was it about their stories in particular that first spoke to you and really aligned with your mission and your purpose for this?
Sure. I think in the end, one of the main components was women that are lifting up the voices of others. That was kind of the main part of what I was looking for, and just looking for different ways in which women were doing that within the community. Every woman I spoke to when I was going around to figure out who would be featured, I was incredibly inspired by, and it really just ended up coming down to, a different story, working with different people, living in a different area of the city. Each woman is from a different section of the city plus Center City, so that was a really important component. Both of the work that they're doing, I'm just in awe of, and they inspire me on a daily basis.
Well, Trelawney and Kaylin, allowing someone into your life, your space, your home, your journey, it's not easy for everybody to do that. And then you hear, I want to paint your face, and it's going to be on the side of the wall. Oh, and by the way, we're going to do a documentary film about this, you know, in the process. And that kind of can create anxiety for some people. They want to throw their walls up. But both of you said, yes, I will allow you. And I know that was something that was really important to you, Sarah, that they let you in. So talk a little bit, Trelawney and Kaylin, what was it that made you say, you know, I can identify with her vision and I want to support it?
Well, I wanted Rochester to see the need that there was for like foster homes and children to be adopted. So what better way to put it on a wall so that people can see it, you know, that there really are children still out there waiting for good homes.
And I want to make sure people know this. In addition to be a project counselor at the U of R, you help young mothers navigate life and help them to raise their children and find independence. But meanwhile, at home, you're the adoptive, foster, and biological mom to 9 children.
Yes.
9 kids, and you believe every child deserves love. Talk about what it is that inspires you to ensure that happens.
Sewing into them, just pouring in as much love as I can into each and every one, because they all have their each individual personalities, but just pouring into them, like always pouring into them to let them know that they are so loved and they are so important to this world. Like, your destiny is just great, you know, so just pouring in to make sure.
And your mural features your youngest, and Sarah, talk a little bit about that, because it was. I think it's symbolic in the way in which Trelawney's youngest is featured. Talk about that.
Yeah, so at that point, Sunday was not yet adopted, so that's why her head is kind of turned away, just to make sure we were, you know, legally all set. But also, you know, Sunday represented all of the children in her life that she's really helped, and that was again why it was not really about her individually, but about what she represented. And then on the circles around Trelawney are the birthstones of all of her other children, because obviously that was an important part of her life and world, but I would have been there for a year painting all of her children. So, you know, I think it was important that they were represented, but and I think that they liked that aspect.
Yeah, beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Well, Kaylin, I've had the honor of having you on this show before, and we discussed in particular sexual harassment and gender discrimination. You are a queer feminist, a sexuality educator, an activist, a writer, and there are a host of other things that I can't even get through. And I want to congratulate you. You just recently released your book, Girls Resist. Publishers Weekly says it walks teens through the nitty-gritty of running a campaign, protesting a policy, or helping to get out the vote. So talk first about what made you connect to this, and then I want to talk a little bit more about your work.
So to be honest, and Sarah can confirm this, when she came to me, I was a little bit taken aback. I don't know if you felt that way too, Trelawney. I was like, why would you want to like include me? There's so many other people who are deserving of this. And what it really was for me was actually hearing about the other women was really, you know, I was really moved by their stories too. And I was like, how can I say no? This is a huge honor. It was really a humbling experience for me. And I had a little bit of imposter syndrome for sure, which is something I totally recognize, and that's a real thing that like a lot of women, a lot of people go through. And so for me, it was a little bit like, oh, I don't know why this is happening, but I'm really glad to be a part of it. Particularly because I do want to, I mean, with the book even, my goal is really just to get information out to people, to empower girls especially, but people with marginalized identities to be a part of their own change. And if there was a way that I could do that through this project, I was really excited to join.
And talk, I think this thread that you said, Sarah, all the women have, they've all empowered others. And as I look at all of your stories, I see that you have fought and advocated for others, for equality, for justice, access, and so much more. And I want to know, you know, Kaylin, what fuels you to do what you do? Because especially when we look at your book, the focus on young people. Why is that so important for you?
The focus on young people is so important to me because it sounds really cliche, but they really are going to lead us into the future. I mean, we see that right now. We've seen it in the last few years, even before the last administration changed, right? We saw it with Black Lives Matter. We see it with Occupy Wall Street. We see it with the Parkland students today, and all of the youth in our city right now here in Rochester that are also like out there making art and making change and doing things in their schools and in their communities. I really believe that one thing that doesn't happen for girls as much as it should is we don't give them the tools to stand up for themselves, or the tools to even like do something bigger, like create a campaign, whether that's in their school or for the world. And so the goal of the book and my passion for making it specifically for young people, and in this case really specifically for girls, in the broadest definition of the term girls, right, is that they are institutionally not going to get the same access to resources and power that maybe like cisgender boys sort of expect in school and in life. And I just want them to have those tools, and then they're going to tell us what's coming next. Because I'm officially like too old to say that I'm a girl of the upcoming generation, and I'm not going to know. I'm sure I'm going to get to a point very soon where I'm like, I don't understand what you're doing at all, but I'm for it. Take us there.
Yeah.
Well, in addition to the 5 women, Sarah, that you've incorporated in this project, you also recruited 2 young women, and you wanted them to get involved because you saw this also as an opportunity for the next generation, just as you said, Kaylin. So before we go into this, I just want to show, we have a short clip of the documentary film of Her Voice Carries that has been done by Blue Sky Project. So we'll take a look at this clip.
It always felt really important to me to have kind of like the next generation working alongside of me for this project, like kind of, you know, representing these women that bring inspiration, and then these are the next women that are going to carry that torch, right? Therese and Maribel, I worked with them on youth mural projects, so I had to kind of explain to them, you know, this is, I'm going to author this project, you are the assistant, so this is like different than the youth mural projects that we've worked before in the past. But my hope is that they're going to gain experience, and like I said, it was very important that they got paid above minimum wage for this work, and I don't know, that they feel valued and important.
All right, go team, go. Yeah. I'm so glad you 2 have finally met. It's been like, how long have I been talking? I've been like, you gotta meet this girl.
Sarah, I know that through this process you developed quite a bond with both young women. How did they benefit in terms of what they've shared with you? What was it that they learned, that they got from this?
You know, I think that I got to see a little bit of a preview of the film, and one of the things that Therese said was that I really, that through this she learned how important self-love was, and I just started crying. I was like, oh my God, yes, that's what it's all about, you know, and even just, it was really important to me that they felt comfortable taking up space, and that they could like own these walls and take up space, and it was theirs to really do that. So I've seen such a shift from, I mean, it was a year-long process, and 5 giant walls plus the one at the Memorial Art Gallery, you know, so even just their confidence being out in public space, having other people watch them work, you know, all these things that at their age I would not have been able to do, you know, or maybe if I'm giving the chance, but you know, it's hard at that age, and I really think that I've watched them grow a lot within themselves during the whole project.
And in what ways do you envision or hope that this project will connect people of different generations, of different, you know, backgrounds, of different life journeys?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really easy for us to get just stuck in our own networks of the people that we speak to, the people that we surround ourselves with, even within the city, the places that we go. And was really hoping with this project that will shift that and even just get you to consider that. I think you don't even realize sometimes that you're stuck in your own circles. So my hope is that people will kind of travel these murals, think about the city as a whole, not just these disparate parts, think about all these different stories, and you know, just maybe within their own lives, think about ways that they can break out of their own circles.
I think it's interesting that you strategically chose the different parts of the city, and you said the city, not the suburbs, a major focus on the city. Why was that?
I mean, I've always felt really passionate about the city of Rochester and what it has to offer, and I think it just made it more specific. Again, I want people to travel the city, you know, and really and think about our city of Rochester, the heart of the city, you know, and that is the city itself.
So, Kaylin and Trilani, in what ways do, you know, you said you learned so much from the other women involved, but how do you want this project, or how do you hope that this project and these stories, we've heard from Sarah how she wants it to connect with others, how do you hope it will impact our community, this project in general, impact the community as a whole?
I'll let Caitlin.
Caitlin,
I think
you can
what
take it
I'm
away.
really proud of in terms of being part of this project, and of Sarah specifically, the other thing she did that she didn't mention is that she picked all women of color, and a really broad definition of what that means, but basically all women that maybe don't have the same access to have their stories told. And as a white artist, we've talked about this many times, I thought that was a really intentional choice, and one that's really important, that we're not only raising up the voices of women, but that we're telling stories of women of color here in Rochester that are doing really cool, important things that I wouldn't know about these other stories without the project. So I'm excited about that, about lifting up the voices of those of us who, especially my four fellow counterparts, who people just might not, the unsung heroes, who are also women of color here in Rochester.
Yeah.
Trelawney, what about you? What do you hope the community as a whole will get from this?
Well, I want them to go to visit each one of the murals because they each have such a powerful story to tell. And just to see the beauty within our city. Like even at the art gallery where we're featured at, there too, little kids come up and say, "Oh my gosh, you're on a wall there," and they'd be so excited. I'd be like, "Yeah." You know? But so just to say to the young people, to the city at large, that our city just it holds so much, you know, and just to get out and just be the best you that you can be, you know, be the best you that you can be. So yeah, and I'm glad that Sarah. That is just phenomenal. She's a phenomenal woman. So. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous. The murals are gorgeous, this project. And the thing that I've taken away, Sarah, is just in terms of me hearing about the stories and seeing you work on this, is how I think we all kind of internalize how we want our own voice to carry and what that means and what that means for our stories that we share. So I want to thank all of you for being here and for being a part of this conversation. So we have to close for now. A huge thank you to my guests, but be sure you must check out the murals of Her Voice Carries. You can learn more about the project, all the women featured, and you can get a full listing of the mural locations by going to hervoicecarries.blog. And before we close, we learned today a key figure in Rochester's Northeast neighborhood has died. Father Lawrence Tracy, who has ministered to the North Clinton neighborhood and is revered by many in the Hispanic community there, died early Thursday morning after a battle with ALS. He was 78. And that wraps up another edition of Need to Know, Rochester's news magazine. I'm your host, Helene Bienduty-Hofer. Thank you for joining me tonight and throughout the weekend here on WXXI TV and online at WXXInews.org. Have a great night.